The conference chamber of the Galactic Council hung suspended in the void between stars, its crystalline walls reflecting the light of 1,000 distant suns. Ambassador Kevin stood at the observation deck, his hands clasped behind his back, watching the emergency session unfold below with growing dread. "They're really gone," Anna whispered beside him, her voice barely audible over the cacophony of alien languages filling the chamber. The young diplomatic attaché had served under Kevin for 3 years, and he'd never heard such defeat in her tone. Kevin nodded slowly. "Every human colony, every outpost, every ship," he paused, his jaw tightening. "We left quietly just as they asked." The irony wasn't lost on either of them. For 200 years, humanity had begged for a seat at this very table. They'd proven themselves worthy, sharing their music, their literature, their revolutionary medical techniques. They'd offered their engineering prowess freely, asking only for acceptance among the galactic community. Instead, the Council had voted. Resolution 4477. Humanity was too dangerous, too unpredictable, too emotional to be trusted with the responsibilities of advanced civilization. The vote had been nearly unanimous, 857 species in favor, 3 abstaining, none opposed. The humans had been given 1 standard galactic year to withdraw from all Council space. They'd needed only 6 months. "Look at them," Anna said, gesturing to the delegates below. The Vexithari ambassador was clicking his mandibles frantically, his usually luminescent carapace dim with stress. The Solinari representative had actually left her environmental tank, something considered deeply improper in their culture. "They're terrified." "They should be," Kevin replied. The emergency session had been called because of what humanity left behind, or rather what they'd taken with them. In 6 months, every human doctor, engineer, technician, and laborer had quietly packed their belongings and departed Council space. No protests, no violence, no tearful goodbyes, just silence. The Kralix Empire had been the first to notice. Their orbital manufacturing platforms had gone dark within days of the human technicians' departure. Platforms that had operated flawlessly for 50 years suddenly couldn't maintain basic life support. The Kralix engineers stared at the human design systems they'd relied on, but never truly understood. Then the Vexthari agricultural worlds began to fail. The humans had revolutionized their farming techniques, increasing yields by 300%, but the Vexthari hadn't bothered to learn the underlying principles. They'd simply let the humans handle it. Now their people faced famine. The list grew daily. The Solinari medical crisis. Human doctors had been treating a pandemic that their own physicians couldn't cure. The Teleran computational collapse, every advanced AI system in their infrastructure, had been designed by humans. The Zenith mining disaster, human safety protocols had been preventing catastrophic accidents for decades. "Ambassador Kevin," a voice crackled through his communicator. It was Councillor Vexthul, the same being who had championed Resolution 4477. "Please, we must speak with you. The Council wishes to reconsider." Anna looked up at Kevin, hope flickering in her eyes. "Maybe they've learned." "Maybe. They've learned nothing," Kevin interrupted gently. "They've simply discovered their own incompetence." He activated his communicator. "Councillor, humanity received your message clearly. You deemed us too dangerous. We respected your decision. But you must understand." Vexthul's translator rendered his distress with unusual accuracy. "We didn't realize how integrated you had become. Your people were everywhere, doing everything. We thought—" "You thought we were servants," Kevin said, his voice cold. "Useful tools to be discarded when they became inconvenient." The silence on the other end spoke volumes. Anna touched Kevin's arm. "Sir, billions will suffer. The Kralix children, the Vexthari colonies, they didn't vote against us." Kevin's expression softened as he looked at his young attaché. This was why the Council feared them. Humans felt too much, cared too deeply. Even now, after being rejected, Anna's first thought was for those who would suffer. "I know," he said quietly. "But this isn't our decision anymore. The human governments have already voted. We will not return to spaces where we are not wanted. The Council made their choice, and choices have consequences." Below them, the chamber had erupted into chaos. Delegates were shouting, some at each other, many at the few remaining human representatives. Accusations flew. Some claimed humanity had sabotaged systems before leaving. Others insisted humans had deliberately made themselves indispensable as a form of control. Anna watched them with sad eyes. They still don't understand, do they? We didn't make ourselves necessary. We just help because that's what we do. That's what we did, Kevin corrected. Past tense now. A massive view screen activated showing real-time feeds from across the galaxy. Infrastructure failures, economic collapse, medical emergencies, social unrest. The galactic civilization so proud and ancient was tearing at its own seams, and in the darkness beyond Council space, humanity's colony ships moved steadily away, their trajectory set for the unexplored regions beyond the galactic rim. They carried with them 2 centuries of knowledge, innovation, and achievement, gifts that had been rejected. They're calling it the Silent Exodus, Anna said, reading from her datapad. Galactic media is in complete meltdown. Some are calling us vindictive. Others are claiming we were infiltrators all along. Kevin smiled without humor. We're neither. We are simply gone. A priority transmission came through, from Earth itself. The Secretary General's message was brief. All diplomatic staff are ordered to return home. The experiment is over. Kevin began walking toward the exit, Anna following. As they passed through the corridors they'd walked for years, they encountered no one. The halls were empty. Every other human had already left. At the docking bay, their ship waited, a sleek human design, elegant and efficient. As they boarded, Anna took one last look at the Council station. Do you think they'll survive? She asked. Kevin engaged the engines. Eventually. They'll learn to do things themselves, or they'll find other species to help them. He set course for Earth. But they'll never forget the day humans left quietly. As their ship accelerated away, the Council station grew smaller in the viewport. Behind them, an entire galactic civilization stood on the edge, finally understanding the difference between dependence and partnership. Humanity had left quietly, and in that silence, the Council heard everything they'd refused to listen to before. The end.